Hi y'all, welcome in. I hope that you are doing so amazing. If you're new to my channel, my name is Lindsay. My channel is all about self and spiritual development, manifestation, messages from spirit, and a little bit about entrepreneurship as well. And if you are interested in those resources, they're going to be in the description box below, as well as my about section. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get into today's video, which I'm excited about. It's something I've really been working on quite a bit lately, which is the law of detachment and just a clinginess to moments and how to bring awareness to that so that you can free yourself from it. And so I also hope y'all don't mind when I make these videos in bed. I really want to be so completely transparent and authentic with y'all. And would it look better if I went and sat at my desk and turned on my neon lights? Yeah, of course, but I've been really giving myself the rest that I need lately, and I want that to show. And I just feel really good in bed right now, and it's where I want to be. And so I think that it's important to share those messages again and just show that, like, hey, like, come as you are, do what feels good. There is nothing more important than what feels good to you, right? So, but yeah, let me get back on topic here. So, the law of detachment, clinginess to moments, this is something that I've really been pushed and kind of called to by source to actually apply everything that, I research and talk about, everything that I've poured into myself, all of the growth and self-development, all of that. So I have been in isolation for a while now, and I've just really gone through like one spiritual awakening after another. And if you have been through that, which if you are drawn to my channel, then I'm sure that you have, but it's not, even though it is incredibly beautiful and such a gift, it's not really something to necessarily glorify, because it's not a walk in the park, and it really has been very hard at times and really takes a lot of my energy. And so I just, I need a lot of time at home. I need a lot of time to myself, and I need a lot of time to rest and recharge. And I think I've prefaced this before in my videos, but I am pretty much a loner anyways, and I've just kind of always been that way. It just is kind of like what feels good to my energy. I really can't have a lot of people pulling on me. And of course, I know that a lot of that is within my control, whether what I allow myself to get, pulled on or not. But truthfully, I've just always felt, my best and had the most peace when my circle is small, and I just kind of honor who I am, which is just a little bit of a loner. But with that said, Source has really been, I think, calling me out of isolation lately, and it's been good for me because I really was able to see where I was applying the law of detachment and where I was definitely clinging to moments. And when I say clinging to moments, this is really what I want to talk about and what is the most important message for me to get across in this video, because it's, something that is hard to be aware of, but then once you become aware of it, you really do level up in terms of your growth and your self-development. And it's one of those things that I just really, really love, because there's there just are these things out there that when we're working on them, that really awareness is all it requires for us to begin to dissolve that old program. There's really nothing for you to do except to become aware of it and very conscious of it. And it's what starts to dissolve it, and dissolve it pretty quickly, just simply by awareness. And so again, clinginess to moments is really something that we do, and it actually keeps us from our satisfaction and living in the present moment. And being in the present moment is what? It's simply awareness, right? But what's beautiful about that awareness, and when we are living in the now, that's when we begin to experience these beautiful, magical synchronicities that are only for you. It's a gift just for you. Only you are going to know that it's working. And I think that's what makes it special. But what we often do as humans, and as part of this program that is meant to be dissolved, is we cling on to moments and memories, both good and bad. We let the moment completely dictate our satisfaction. I mean, think about it. If a moment goes really, really well, a memory goes really, really well, we cling on to that. And in the same token, when something doesn't go our way, what we cling on to is that disappointment and that resentment over that, right? And then lack of dissatisfaction. It's everything on the outside of us, and even things that are completely not in our control really dictate our satisfaction. And even when we overly cling to good moments, it's actually something that leaves a lot of room for disappointment, because again, when things don't go our way, we think it's our fault, that we don't know how to manifest, that we experience that massive gap between where we are and where we want to be. And just everything on the outside of us is dictating our emotional and our mental body, which affects everything. And it really keeps you in the program. And so, for example, me coming out of isolation and having been a bit more social lately than I typically am, I have noticed that I still will kind of do that. I will cling to a moment that's gone really, really well. And in the same token, if there are moments that haven't gone really well, and since I have been in isolation, it's like I, for a split second, will almost like slip back into that old program, by clinging on to the disappointment of a moment not going the way that I wanted it to. And I will let that affect me. And it kind of makes me want to go back into isolation, right? But that's not helpful at all. And the whole point is that the discomfort and also the awareness is what's helping me grow. And so, again, it's just really been a beautiful opportunity for me to really raise my awareness, and it is absolutely dissolving it for me. There's absolutely, and fully admittedly, been a couple of moments where I have, been a little bit disappointed by the way that some moments have gone. But what has changed about me is that it'll really only be like an hour or two. And I'm very, very aware that by doing that and allowing that, I'm actually giving my power away. And I'm just creating more room for disappointment, and even when the moments have like just completely gone my way or better, I've clung to that. But even by overly clinging to those very satisfying moments, that really just has left room for me to be disappointed when every moment doesn't go that way, right? And so, in the past, I'll fully admit it probably would have ruin my day, really. I probably would have let it ruin my whole day, the next day when something didn't go my way. And now it's only an hour or two, and I'm literally able to call my power back almost immediately. And the thing is I'm super aware of it now, like when I'm doing it, that like I'll realize like, oh, hey, like this is just hurting myself. This is just creating room for disappointment. And I have a choice right here to be satisfied anyways. And the second that I bring awareness to it, literally my mind just starts to, work for me and not against me. And I will start to turn the focus on the appreciation and love that I have for myself and love of my awareness now, and how that is completely changing my daily life. And it is something that has really brought me into the present, because even that is a difficult concept, I think, for us to understand. But then when it clicks and you begin to become so conscious that you just don't really go unconscious anymore, now you're in the present. And now you can focus on the two most powerful energies that are out there, which is appreciation and self-love. And it keeps you in this satisfied place no matter what, and where your environment and things happening on the outside of you are not dictating your happiness. It puts you in the driver's seat where you belong, and it puts you in a place where you are in charge of the energy. And that is such a place of where natural manifestation happens, because when you are in charge of your own satisfaction and aren't letting your environment dictate your happiness, that's literally when your vortex easily moves in. That's where you become one with the path of least resistance. And it's also how you just become, again, really happy, because you're present, you're in your body. It's where you get to experience being enchanted by every now moment, because that is what it's all about. It's all about that, spiritual simplicity and going out in nature and things like that. It's how I got to this point where, most days I am just enchanted by the smallest things. It might sound silly, but literally like the clouds and different birds, and I mean just really simple things, even like, even like my hands, appreciating like my hands and like what they can do, and just being able to have such a healthy mind that is so good at visualization and sending out a Wi-Fi signal, and to where I can be so enchanted in every now moment. And that's what it is, right? Because that is how you really embrace your life and how you really live. It's more than living, it's thriving, isn't it? To where now you're in charge of the energy. You get to experience satisfaction because you are focused on your appreciation and self-love. And so I just think that that is so important, that if you really want to practice the law of attachment, which absolutely is such a life-changing gift, is really to bring awareness to clinginess to moments. You don't want to overly cling to the good, and you definitely don't want to cling to bad moments, so that they completely leave you with disappointment and resentment. So, if that's something that you can do, just truly bringing awareness to what you are clinging on to. If you are clinging to moments, again, both good and bad, just bringing awareness to it and being willing to ask yourself that question, that if it's something that you are doing, then again, that awareness alone will begin to dissolve that and help you get out of your own way. And so, yeah, I really hope that this is helpful. It's certainly something that is helping me a lot. It is completely, again, just something I've been really appreciative of lately, that just the awareness of it is bringing me back home to self on a daily basis. And, even going and being a bit more social is providing me the opportunities to dissolve any residual bits that are left of that program, where my, environment and things on the outside are dictating my satisfaction. And so you just always want to bring it back to appreciation and self-worth, and, just awareness of how much you are clinging to moments. And bringing awareness to it, again, is just going to put you back in your power and make you in charge of the energy. And that is the whole point every day. There is nothing that is more important than you feeling good. So y'all, let me know what you think about this in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I am, from the bottom of my heart, so truly grateful for each and every one of y'all. I love y'all so much. Thank you for being here with me and building this with me. And this is very much a we thing. And so I'm just so grateful, and I love you so much. And I will see you in the next one.